Motorhead, putting together a short little video here on the assembly and construction of my 42-inch Edge 540. It's a new plane we've come out with. It's based on the 32-inch plans that Lead Feather developed for his Edge. It's all EPP construction. This particular airplane is unique because the wing itself has an airfoil to it. But the rest of the plane is nice, easy, flat construction out of mainly 9mm EPP, with the exception of the tail brace, which is 3mm. I'll go through the pieces that are contained within the kit real quick. The vertical pieces, and this is all the flat foam. You've got the upper fuselage and the lower fuselage. You have the lower doublers that strengthen the nose area on the airplane. You have the 3mm tail doublers or tail braces that actually attach at a 45-degree angle between the vertical lower piece and the horizontal tail piece to stiffen up the tail. And then you have the rudder itself. The horizontal pieces that come in the kit are going to consist of the two wing halves, and you can see here the actual airfoil shape. It's a fully symmetrical wing with the aileron that is already cut out and pre-hinged. The rudder and elevator are also already pre-hinged or pre-beveled. You'll have to do the hinging yourselves, and I do suggest using the welder's glue on EPP. It seems to just be a marvelous glue. Works really, really well. The nose horizontal piece, and we've got the tail horizontal piece, and then the horizontal stab and the elevator that attaches to that. And again, those are both pre-beveled. Now, for the sake of time, rather than actually gluing these pieces together, I'm just going to use some Scotch tape, but I'll explain when and how the glue goes together on this. But this will give you a basic idea on the assembly steps and kind of what you have to go through as far as putting this plane together. Overall, it's pretty easy, but we'll get started here. I'm going to start with the two wing halves. You have your left and right half. As far as telling bottom from top, you want to look at the bevel for the aileron. The hinge would go on top of the wing. You would apply glue to the two inside surfaces of these. Again, welders works real well for that. I'll assemble these real quick and then we can keep going. Now, being in a symmetrical wing, the root of the airfoil is thicker than the tips, and so when you lay it down on the table, it's not going to want to lay flat, but we'll take care of that here in a little bit. Once those two are glued together, the next step would be to go ahead and put the spar rods in the top and bottom of the wing. Now, for this particular airplane, the spar we use on that is just 1.5mm carbon rod, and there'll be one rod placed on top of the wing, just slightly buried in the foam, and then one on the bottom of the wing. To insert that, these rods that I've used, you can see, are just under 30 inches long. And what I've done is I've gone out on the wingtips and I've marked a line 2.5 inches back from the leading edge. I've marked one on each wingtip, and then I'm going to take my straight edge, lay it across the wing, and you can make it a little bit easier just by attaching the straight edge with a piece of tape. That'll kind of help hold it in place. And again, your wing's not laying flat on the table. It'll want to rock a little bit, but that's okay at this point. You'll go in, find the center of your wing. If you line your ruler up I'm about 23 1/4. Ideally I'd put it on 24, that way it's easier to measure out from each end. What I'm just going to do is grab another ruler I've got here. I want the cut to be 30 inches, so put the 15 on center, and what I'll do, and this will be pretty easy here, I'm just going to take a piece of tape and place it at one end, come down here to the 30-inch mark, put another piece of tape on there, and the spar is just shy of 30 inches, so if you make your slot 30 inches, then you'll be fine. I'm going to take my blade. You can use a snap blade like this, which is what I prefer to use. A small straight razor blade would work fine, or an X-Acto knife. And then you just want to make your slit and cut along through there. And it doesn't have to be very deep, maybe 1/8 of an inch deep to 3/16 of an inch deep. Once you've got the slit in the top, you want to take that, flip the wing over, make the same 30-inch long slit in the bottom, and then you're ready to insert your spar. I'm going to forego actually inserting the spar in this case. It's pretty easy to do. But what you would do is take your spar, line it up in the slot, push it down into the foam, and that little slit will just open up, and that the rod, you can just push it with your finger, just push it through the slot as you go down the wing. You'll put the bottom spar in, you'll put the top spar in, and then once you get those in, they'll stay inside the foam. Then what you'll want to do, turn the camera here a little bit, you'll take your wing, and the spars will just from being pinched by the foam, will stiffen up the wing a little bit, but your wing won't be perfectly true. And so what you'll want to do is sight down the leading edge of the wing and just bend the wing a little bit with those spars in there until you get that leading edge straight. Once you get that leading edge nice and straight, then your wing is going to be flat through the center. We don't want any dihedral, don't want any anhedral. We want that to be straight as you go right through the center of the wing. Once you get those to where that you look down that leading edge holding it vertical, and you get that leading edge straight, carefully lay it on your table. Don't put any pressure on it. And then just take some thin CA. And that thin CA, you can just take it and drizzle it right on top of that carbon rod down the top, and then carefully flip it over and drizzle that CA carefully right down on the spar on the bottom side of the wing. Let that sit for a few minutes. If you want, you can kick it, but I don't like using kicker because it tends to make a little bit of yellow on the foam, and so I just let it sit and dry out. It'll soak into the foam. As it thins down, it'll kick off. So let that sit for a little bit, and then you'll have your spar in there. I know it doesn't go all the way to the tip, but we do want to keep this tip flexible. So if you do hit the ground, it will allow it to give. But as far as flight loads are concerned, the carbon out to here is plenty. So anyways, that's the spar installation into the wing. The next step after that, we're going to attach the rear horizontal section of the fuselage. That piece there just glues right on the back edge of the wing. Now I've trimmed the back of the wing so that it's about 9 millimeters thick. It'll be slightly off, but it's close enough. So you take your welder's glue, apply it to each surface, let it cure for about a minute, stick it together, and that'll be stuck good.